हाय।
Hi.
हेलो।
ऐसे स्माइलिंग फेस के साथ अगर एक शुरुआत होती है बड़ा प्यारा लगता है।
Thank you.
मिताली का स्टोरी भी बहुत इंस्पायरिंग था। हैट्स
Okay.
ऑफ, मतलब जो फाइटिंग स्पिरिट था वो बड़ा जोश आ गया।
अच्छा, लास्ट टाइम मैंने मिस्ड किए ना 2-3। Okay.
आई ऑल्सो हाँ,
हाँ हाँ
पर
हाँ
लिंक भी नहीं देख पाई एक्चुअली, टाइम नहीं मिला तो
हाँ
एक
हाँ
बार
हाँ।
आप देखूंगे, विल गो थ्रू इट।
Yeah, I think let's start, Neha. By the
हाँ आई
time
थिंक
others join. Yeah.
Hello, good evening everyone. Welcome to CSI Live Sessions Group. My name is Neha Aaron. I am a cancer survivor and a winner, and it is my pleasure to host this meeting again. CSI, Cancer Survivors in India, is a cancer support group, or we can say a strong helping foundation to help cancer patients and their caregivers. CSI में बाई वीकली सेशंस होते हैं, ऑर्गेनाइज किए जाते हैं, जिसमें हम इनवाइट करते हैं एज अ स्पीकर वो हमारे कैंसर वॉरियर्स और उनके केयरगिवर्स होते हैं, जो अपनी स्टोरी, अपने एक्सपीरियंसेस, अपनी हर वो बात जिनसे उन्हें फ़ायदे या नुकसान हुए हैं, वो इस सेशन के दौरान हम सभी के साथ शेयर करते हैं। और इस सेशन की शुरुआत से पहले मैं 2 लाइन्स बोलना चाहूँगी। कैंसर को हराना है, हारना नहीं, सभी को समझाना है, घबराना नहीं। यस, CSI help you to feel better, more hopeful and not so alone. Uh, thank you so much everyone for joining with us. Today we have with us Mrs. Kaushiki Sanyal ji, जिन्हें कैंसर डायग्नोज हुआ था लास्ट ईयर, ओवेरियन कैंसर 2021 मई में। और उनकी एक क्यूट सी डॉटर है 4 इयर्स ओल्ड की, और कैसे उन्होंने ओवरकम किया इस डिसीज़ को एक वर्किंग के साथ, एक फैमिली और एक छोटी सी बेटी के साथ, आज उनसे ही समझते हैं। सो वेलकम कौशिकी जी, वेलकम टू द सेशन एंड शेयर योर जर्नी विद अस। थैंक यू सो मच।
Thank you, Neha. And hello, everybody. And it's a pleasure to be on this forum. And I hope as I talk about my journey, it helps other people overcome their fears of cancer and the kind of the treatment problems that happen. So, as Neha mentioned, my cancer diagnosis happened last year in May 2021, actually. Um, Unfortunately, I had no symptoms of the disease before about 10-15 days before I got diagnosed. So, what happened was, it was in April last year. I had a blood test about in the beginning of the month, and in that it showed that my platelet count was very high. So the doctor suggested that I do a few other tests to see why this, because he said that this is a sign of some kind of infection, and so to do a few other tests to see what was the infection there. Around the same time, my mother fell sick and she had to be admitted to the hospital, and she had a heart problem. There was some other family issues. So I kind of postponed doing any of those tests and didn't do it at that time. Then my mother actually had a heart issue, and at that time, I'm sure many of you will remember, it was also the time when the the second wave of COVID happened, and Delhi was going through a tremendous, crisis. With there was shortage of hospital beds, there was shortage of oxygen, there was complete chaos happening. So in the midst of that, my my because I didn't have any symptoms. It was just a blood test, and it was it didn't seem like anything major. So kind of got on the back burner. Then unfortunately, my mother passed away on 28th April, and it was a very difficult time for us, for our family, and as we started adjusting, we were trying to adjust to the new situation. My father started living with us. This was early May. So I was feeling a little. I used to feel. I generally did the cooking etc. at my home, and like Neha mentioned, I also have a small daughter. So I was feeling a little tired, like slightly nauseous and a little tired. But I kind of thought that it was primarily because it was very hot. It was May in Delhi, and it was like really really scorching. So thought that that was the reason. Then about mid of May, I got my monthly period, and that suddenly continued for a very long time, like almost 10 days, and it was not stopping. So finally, again, I went to the doctor, and then the doctor again suggested doing some tests. And then I did my CBC, and there my hemoglobin had dropped to almost 5. So then a large number of tests the doctor ordered, but nothing really was coming up on it. Although my ESR, CRP were high, but nothing really. Rest of the tests, my LFT, KFT, nothing was coming. And finally, the doctor said that why don't you do a ultrasound? So in the ultrasound, then there was the tumor got there was a tumor which got detected in my ovary. Then we started consulting gynecologists because we didn't even know whether it was cancerous or not. So the doctor suggested certain tests like CA125, etc., which actually came high. So they said that even then it's not essential that it's cancerous. So then we did a CT scan, MRI, all those tests, usual tests and stuff. So finally, the doctor said that we should do a surgery, what they called a frozen section surgery, where they will once they open me up, then they will send a small sample of the tumor to the lab for a quick test to see whether it's malignant or not. And based on that, then they will do a hysterectomy, basically remove all my these organs. Um, so that was what was done. So we said, "Oh, fine." So on 22nd June, I had my surgery, and it turned out to be malignant. And the doctor removed everything. She said that, so I got operated. We live in Gurgaon, and I got operated at Medanta under Dr. Soumya Gupta. And so all my the tumors and all the debulking was done. She said that there was nothing, no residue left. They thankfully could remove it, although it was a very big tumor. After that, then post surgery, I was recovering. I recovered the usual time that it takes, and then uh, few weeks later, um, I had to meet the medical oncologist for the chemotherapy. Uh, my chemo started about 4 weeks later. The problem was that firstly, they couldn't figure out. So mine was not a regular ovarian cancer. So mine was firstly poorly differentiated, and they also was finding it difficult what type of tumor it was. And so, anyways, based on certain tests, etc., the doctor devised a treatment plan, and it started. Three cycles of chemo happened. After which I did there was a test done, CT scan done. On that, there was a small lesion found near my iliac region. Just one second, my pet dog has come in the room. I'll just remove her from here. Kishmish, go. Kishmish, come. Let's go. Let's go. Come. Let's go. I'm so sorry for the interruption.
No, no issue.
No, you can also show the Kishmish to us. That
Please.
pet is also available for
My
reply.
daughter has already come and said go to the group. You really don't want to see Kishmish now. She's going to otherwise jump and she's not going to let me do anything at all. I'll show you a photo later on of her. So anyway, so after the three cycles, then when the scan happened, there was not a lesion found, a very small one, but near my iliac region, and on one lymph node was also a bit swollen. So around that time, also luckily, we were also kind of talking to a family friend of ours whose son is a doctor, oncologist, radiologist actually in Tata Memorial Hospital in Bombay. So they were also guiding us, how to go about the treatment here. And we did so the biopsy was done there also, and here in Medanta also, and similar results had come. And but at that time, this doctor told us that a new strain had come to them, some kind of a stain, and that he tested that on my tumor, and they found that it was a variant of a small cell carcinoma, which is extremely rare for especially for ovarian. It's mostly, I think, in lung cancer that happens. So once that diagnosis came, and they couldn't even give us a official report because it was not done officially. It was done by individually by this doctor. So we of course communicated that to our doctor, oncologist here, and he then changed the treatment plan based on according to that. And I was being given two, and also so they decided that they will also give me an immunotherapy drug based on my PDL score. And so I started on etoposide and another immunotherapy drug. So and another drug. So this cycle continued for three cycles. So doctor was not very confident. He said that there's a high chance that this is not going to work because this is as very rare, etc. So I was, what to do. I don't know. We were very scared. We were all very scared what's going to happen. And then after three cycles, we did a PET scan. Thankfully, it showed reduction in the size of the tumor as well as the lymph node. So three more cycles continue, and end of this end February till February first week. Yeah, my the 6 cycles ended, and then I had a PET scan around after 3 weeks, around mid third week of February, and thankfully, as of now, cancer is gone. So that's the long and short of it. And now, so doctor is but I'm currently on this immunotherapy drug every three week cycle. I've already had 2 doses. So that I think would continue for some time, as that they call it, the maintenance therapy. So that's been the treatment side of it, of my journey. On the things that I did or try to do as much as possible. One was that I, I had a very supportive family. My husband actually was extremely supportive, even though just when my disease got detected, he had just changed jobs. He was teaching at OP Jindal Global University in Sonipat, and he was the dean at the school, the business school there. And he had just shifted jobs, and he was going to take over as the director of MDI, Management Development Institute in Gurgaon. We were all very excited. We were going to move back to Gurgaon because this is where I have been for a long time. My parents also live in Gurgaon, and they were very thrilled because my daughter would be here, and So it was a happy time for us before all of this happened. And but he had to manage both my being at the hospital, all these tests, all these treatments, figuring out doctors, etc., along with managing a new job and doing things. But somehow or other, by God's grace, it happened. My father, as I said, started living with us. So once I got back from the hospital, he took over the in charge of the kitchen because my husband doesn't cook much, and I couldn't help. I couldn't do much cooking. I couldn't do any cooking at that point, and I had to have certain type of food and certain nutritious, healthy food. So so he took over the kitchen and he managed that along with some domestic help. And my daughter, although she's obviously very small, but she was, and we do have a nanny who full-time nanny for her. But she really was a good girl, and she did not create a fuss while I was in the hospital for almost 2 weeks. And my husband was also with me because somebody had to be there. And I was just lucky about on that. Also, my friends have been very supportive. They kept my morale up. They keep coming all the time and visiting me, and also cooking for me all kinds of interesting food which I can eat and which is also nutritious. So that really helped. And I also one of the things that I did was I consulted a nutritionist, and she, based on my some of my reports, etc., she suggested a diet, which at first it was very difficult to do because it was very bland and very mostly boiled stuff in the beginning. But I thought that if I've taken it on, might as well give it a shot. So I did continue with it, and it did help me quite a bit. It's I mean, after a few weeks, she also changed the diet and made it a bit more interesting, and few do's and don'ts were there, but more or less it was doable. And I am still continuing with the diet, and that seems to have that may have contributed. I don't know, but it certainly helped me in gaining back my energy and getting back my kind of mm, not feeling the tiredness, etc., which is very much part of chemo. As you know, all of you are, as you may have experience of all of these. So I was also a little bit fortunate in the fact that touchwood, I my side effects were somewhat minimal. I did not have too much nausea, except on one day, first day, I had a bit of nausea. Um, but only thing I had was a lot of tiredness. So I would just come from chemo and just sleep. So it was the first the treatment was for 3 days continuously. So I would just come home and sleep, and that was primarily what I had. A little bit of I I didn't my appetite also went down quite a bit, so I lost a lot of weight. I also lost a weight actually before the surgery, because that was what kind of happened in last week. I got nausea and loss of appetite, and so I think all of this, the diet quite a bit helped me in overcoming many of these issues. Um, Mentally, as I said, my family and friends support helped a lot. Secondly, I also kept busy with my work. So I'm a policy consultant, and I started taking on work again, little bit, just what I could do from about November onwards, and that really helped because just being mentally occupied and not thinking about what's going to happen to me and my family all the time really helped, and just getting my mind off the uh, problem. Also, doing my regular household chores. I started doing a little bit of cooking because I always enjoy cooking, and started doing that a bit. Also, following a very healthy diet and healthy sleep pattern. I started sleeping on time. I started rather than waking up whatever at odd times or sleeping at odd times. I maintained a sleep schedule. I maintained a healthy diet. Started doing a little bit of exercises, walks, a little bit of yoga, carried on with my most of my hobbies. All these things I did quite as much as possible to keep myself occupied and disease free. And one of the things my nutritionist kind of stressed for me was that to remain disease free, one needs to be not stress free completely. Should not add any stress to try and not to add any stress. So I did that as much as possible. And recently, once my chemo got over, and I also just was on this. I'm now on this immunotherapy drug. I decided that I always wanted a pet, so I finally adopted a dog, a puppy, just end of February, and it's been a huge stress buster. It's lot of work, yes, but a lot of fun also. And I've also started a little bit of traveling. I have to be very careful with food, but just going on with regular life, just rather than mm, be all the time worried about what's going to happen. So that's what I'm trying to do so far. I'll just end with some of the lessons that I feel that I have learned through all this journey. One, I would say, is don't hesitate to share your story with others. So I have talked to a lot of people, and people come up with good suggestions. Uh, I've never had any kind of negative reaction from anyone. Thankfully, everyone has been very positive and tried helping in some way or the other, and given new ideas, new options, new different ways of doing things, and that I think there's no harm in that, and it really is a good thing to get these ideas, and even if you don't want to use them, but just getting to know what are the various options is I think a good idea. The second thing I would say is don't procrastinate. Do what you want to do. If you want to travel. If you want to take up a new hobby, please take up a new hobby. That's if you want to go skydiving or learn swimming, go for it. So I'm planning to learn driving. I still now I didn't drive for various reasons, but now I'm like this is on my bucket list. I'm going to do it. I'm going to learn driving. Also, I think lastly I would say is that help really comes. I've seen that as if you keep faith and keep faith in whatever you believe in the Almighty, and yourself, in someone else, I don't know, but if you do, help really comes from unexpected quarters. And even in the most difficult and darkest of time, you will find somebody who will come forward. It may not be the people you expect who will be helping you, but it may be someone completely unexpected, somebody you had never met, or somebody you never thought you would be close to. And that person, that person may give you the help that you need at that point. And because I've seen it I've seen it happening with me number of times in my journey so far. And of course, as you know, this is not the end. This is a continuing journey, and this is just the half, not even half. It's basically one battle won. I mean, it's just the war is still on. and hopefully we will all win the war on this, on cancer. And that's it. I'm happy to take up any questions if anybody has them.
वाओ सो करेजियस। कौशिकी जी, जो आपने जो बातें बताई हैं, इसमें सबसे ज़रूरी यही होता है कि अगर आपके पास सपोर्ट सिस्टम बहुत सॉलिड हो, तो कोई भी जर्नी, चाहे वो कैंसर हो, चाहे कुछ भी हो, उसे आप बहुत ईज़िली ओवरकम कर सकते हैं।
जी
एंड सेकंड थिंग, आपने जैसे बताया स्ट्रेस फ्री रहना है, हमारे जो भी भगवान को हम जो भी मानते हैं, अगर हम यही सब चीज़ें करेंगे तो कोई भी चीज़ में कैंसर तो मतलब ठीक है, वो एक जर्नी है कि जिसे पास करना है, लेकिन उसके बाद भी अगर आप ये सब चीज़ें कंटिन्यू करेंगे तो हमेशा आप विन ही करेंगे हर चीज़ में। सो किसी को कोई भी क्वेश्चंस है कौशिकी जी से तो प्लीज़ अनम्यूट करके पूछ सकते हैं।
Yeah, Kaushiki ji, I wanted to appreciate one thing that you said about your diet. So, usually people just follow what they listen, like, but they don't think. So, the right way, even my wife is, she just had some issues, and so we had to do a diet thing for her. But the right way to do it, the diet is test, take the reports, figure out everybody is different, right? So,
exactly
for
yeah
what she needs and what is missing, and then the diet should be planned accordingly. So um, that is what people should understand, that खाली ये YouTube video, वो YouTube video, and Luke Contigo, or and don't just follow all those things. Your
yeah
body is different, and I'm good that you actually went to a person who and their diet has to be changed according to the
yes
changes in your body. So that's
yeah
really something people should understand. And the story was amazing. It's great, and we want you to keep being active and share your driving videos and all.
absolutely.
So how much restriction did your dietitian put on you?
Yeah, so a lot of restrictions were there. So, firstly, I was having mostly a plant-based diet, except eggs. I was having eggs. Also, a lot of some of the vegetables, even among the vegetables, some of them she didn't. She asked me not to have, based on some of the reports, some of my reports. She also suggested having.
Like
Sorry.
like which
So she was saying things
vegetables?
like brinjal, radish, tomato, capsicum. Um, that's it. These are the vegetables she said to avoid, and rest I could have. And she said have a lot so she gave what quantities I need to have in every meal, and also gave me the recipe of how to make the dishes, uh, so that the nutrition content is maintained in the food. So it was very difficult to follow because it was, like I said, it was not the most tasty meal, but I made kept my
So
best.
did she put a price? Did she charge something for the recipes extra?
No, 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 no. That's part of the package. I mean, part of the fees that she took. So that was the whole. No extra for that.
So
And
any reason she asked you to avoid tomatoes?
So I think it is the some the it. So I had she said that I had inflammation. So I my like my the markers for inflammation was still high. So I think that it is there. She said that these can trigger inflammation in the body. So that's why she was saying that avoid them for some time. That's why.
Did she suggest anything about sugar you should take or you should not take?
So I wasn't taking. I anyways take very little sugar because I generally don't drink. I drink tea, but I have it without sugar and milk. And this was from before only. And I'm not a much of a sweet. I don't have a sweet tooth. So sugar, she didn't say. I mean, just to avoid it as much. And so no like cakes and baked goods and all. biscuits, etc. to avoid. That's what she said. So she was
So
also
you,
saying,
is your dietitian,
sorry,
is she a doctor or something?
no, she's a
Is your
dietitian.
dietitian a doctor?
No, she's not a doctor. She's a doctor. She's a PhD in nutrition, but not a medical doctor.
And
Kaushiki ji,
Okay. So actually, I have seen doctors asking to take tomatoes.
See, as I said, I mean, it's up to you. You don't have to follow what I'm saying. It's just what the doctor asked me to follow. I mean, since I had taken taken her help, so I followed what she asked me to do. That's all. Yeah, someone else was asking something.
yeah,
कौशिकी जी मैं ये पूछ रही थी कि आप जैसे ट्रैवलिंग करते हैं तो ट्रैवलिंग में फिर ये सब चीज आप कैसे मैनेज करते हैं
तो जब तक मेरा ये ट्रीटमेंट चला था तब तो मैं ट्रैवल नहीं कर रही थी क्योंकि
फूड से रिलेटेड जैसे आप इतना सब कुछ घर में जैसे डाइट लेते हैं
हाँ
तो बाहर कैसे
तो वही
हो
बोल रही हूँ
पाता है
मैं अब तक मतलब मेरा लास्ट ईयर से लेके अभी फरवरी मार्च तक तो मैं ट्रैवल नहीं कर रही थी तो क्योंकि पॉसिबल ही नहीं था मेरा ट्रीटमेंट चल रहा था तो अभी जस्ट रिसेंटली ही मैं मेरे फ्रेंड्स के साथ एक दिन के लिए बाहर गई थी तो वहाँ पे मैं जितना बहुत हल्का खाया जो भी मतलब वहाँ खाना तो पड़ा वहाँ का लेकिन बिल्कुल लाइक जो सैलड्स थे वो खाए कच्चा सैलड नहीं लेकिन जो थोड़ा कुक सैलड था वो खाया थोड़ा हल्का दाल चावल ले लिया वो हल्का ले लिया जो सब्जी मेरे को अलाउड है वो ले लिया उसमें थे जो जो सब्जियां अलाउड थी वो मैंने ले ली फिर पास्ता वगैरह लाइट पास्ता स्पगेटी ओलियो टाइप्स वो ले लिया तो मतलब मिनिमल मतलब हल्का हल्का खाया लेकिन खाया वहीं का क्या करें जा रहे हैं
पास्ता ले लिया आपने पास्ता मैं भी स्टार्ट कर दूंगी थोड़ा थोड़ा मैंने अभी तक बंद कर रखा
हाँ मैं वैसे तो नहीं लेती लेकिन घर पे कभी कभी होल व्हीट या वो दुरुम व्हीट का कभी कभार बना के ले लेती
ओके ओके
रेगुलर
So whenever taking any pasta, first take is थोड़ा थोड़ा लो, एलर्जी को देखो.
हाँ थोड़ा थोड़ा ही ले रहे हैं मैं वैसे ही बहुत ज्यादा खा नहीं
बहुत
पाती
कैंसर पेशेंट को पास्ता एलर्जिक है.
अच्छा
yeah. Or tell me about sorry, आपको sorry आपके जर्नी में कि मतलब अप एंड डाउन तो आते होंगे when even if you're doing well and you had some tragedies about your mom just before. So mentally, even if you're putting up a smiling face, अंदर काफी emotions होते हैं. You already see your husband, your family members doing so much thing for you. You don't want to add. आपको add नहीं करना कि और problems की उनको और बुरा लगे attention. So if you don't mind, could you share your feelings, how you went to and fro and how you tried to hold yourself strong and is this a, like for me there was one of my friend who passed away and then that thought like okay I'm still alive and I still have a chance and I self motivated myself like आपके साथ ऐसे कुछ हुआ तो अगर आप शेयर कर सकते हैं तो प्लीज कीजिए.
so when my mother's passing was a bit of complete shock because she actually was not a particularly unwell and she just and you know my family has a bit of a history of cancer so my mother passed away from heart disease but my mother's two sisters as well as brother passed away from cancer and actually what triggered my mother's hospitalization and illness was my mother's brother my mama basically he had got diagnosed with last stage cancer in December of last year last year like 2020 and he passed away in just beginning of April actually last year so he was my mother's younger brother, and that just totally shattered her. And so, anyways, after that, then she also couldn't like reconcile to that, and she herself passed away. So that was a very, very shocking thing for us. And our problem was we couldn't do anything much because, as I said, this was middle of COVID second wave in Delhi, and we were hoping that we would take her for a second opinion to another hospital doctor, whatever. But before we could do any of that, and we were scared to take her because of the infection, the chances of infection. So if she passed away, so I mean, it was so that's why kind of I just couldn't focus on my own health, even though there was I started feeling, as I said, from the beginning of May, it's a little bit of bit unwell. So once my diagnosis happened, like I said, I mean, it was such a, and plus my type of cancer was also rare, and there was not much information on it. And I तो thought कि बस मेरा नंबर आ गया अब तो nothing कुछ नहीं होगा अब तो गया. So I just kept, the thinking कि I have a small daughter, what's going to happen to her? So that my husband said one thing. So I was like going on cribbing to him that, that, oh my God, what's going to happen? I really don't know. All, the usual, I was getting into a frenzy of worry and this thing. So he said that, what's the worst going to happen? You're going to die. So once you're dead, तुम्हारा वरी खत्म ना, उसके बाद तो प्रॉब्लम इज आर्स. वी हैव टू मैनेज द फैमिली, आई हैव टू मैनेज द फैमिली. तुम्हारा तो प्रॉब्लम खत्म. आई सेड हां, दैट एक्चुअली मेक्स सेंस. So why am I worrying so much? What's going to happen after my if I pass? Whenever I pass away. So like it's their worry. It's not really my worry. So that kind of, I know it sounds very morbid this thing, but it somehow just kind of calmed me down. So I had kind of, I would say I'd given up. I'd lost interest in doing new things, or even buying new clothes or dressing up. All of it, I just kind of lost interest. So I was just okay, whatever. I was going into a depression kind of a thing. Like what's going to happen? uh, who's going to am I how is going to be my last, my fear was like how much pain, this that. You all hear about, oh my God, cancer patients go through so much of pain and physical pain, and then how will I deal with any of that? So that used to keep me awake at night, like, I barely could sleep, and it was just a lot of anxiety was going on. So it kind of, I started meditating a bit, started doing bit of pranayam, yoga, that to just calm me down a bit before I slept. Also, I started maintaining a journal a little bit, writing about on a day-to-day basis what I'm going through. So then that started, that became almost cathartic. It's like it helped put my sentiments and feelings in words, and that helped me also kind of accept the fact that I have got cancer, and also that it's not the end of the world. Yes, I've got it. Yes, I'll have to go through a very difficult stage of treatment, but that doesn't mean that it's never going to succeed. I mean, the other bad thing that I was doing was I was constantly Googling and trying to see what are the chances of survival, and these, all these statistical this thing, oh, you only have 30% chance and you only have this much chance, this kind of thing. And that was freaking me out a lot. So my husband said that, again, I spoke to my husband about it, and he was like, he's himself a economics guy, he's an economist. So he said that, all these statistics are, it's on a huge sample size. So it doesn't really, it's not like just because they're saying 30% doesn't mean that you are going to be in that 30% only. So relax. Doesn't just mean that you're going to, it's going to happen to you and you don't have a chance. So some of these things, firstly the writing part, putting my thoughts in words, talking through these my fears with my family, with my friends, helped a lot. So I heard. So when as I was saying, sharing your story with others. So when I was sharing with not a very close friend, I mean, she became a friend through this journey. but she was more like an acquaintance. But she was very she kept calling me up and talking to me. So she just told me this story that happened to a friend of hers, where her this lady who was in the US, and she was pregnant with her first baby, and she was diagnosed with breast cancer. And they couldn't do chemo because she was pregnant, and they had to wait till the baby was delivered, and only then they did chemo. And she's apparently she's done 5 years has passed, and she's survived, and she's doing well, thankfully. Fingers crossed. So those kinds of story kind of gave me confidence and built my confidence up, that it is a it's not such a hopeless thing, and it's possible to overcome this disease, and it's possible to lead a good life post this. So this was what really helped me to kind of overcome myself from kind of pull myself up from the state of depression. I also started spending a lot of time with my daughter. And earlier, because of work, etc. We do obviously. I was a main caregiver for her, but still, because I was also working from home, etc. So a lot of time would go in that. So since now I didn't do any of that, and I had more time to myself, and I wasn't also doing the too much of the household chores, so I had more time to myself, and I started spending time with her, and that kind of also calmed me down and helped me see the bright side of life, and see that, or whatever time I have and whatever time I get to spend with my loved one is a positive, is a plus. And every day that I wake up alive gives me that opportunity to spend those time with my loved one, and um, just basically just take one day at a time. That's what really helped me in my get through this whole treatment thing over this past year. That's that's the
Yeah,
that's the story, I would say.
that's really inspiring. And taking one day at a time
So,
is
Tecentriq is a very pricey drug, right?
Yeah, it
So,
is.
are you getting any patient assistance program or something like this?
So there's some kind of a scheme that that is there, where if you buy one drug, you get two drugs free. So for the price of one, I get three drugs together. So that's how currently that's
That is we call patient assistance program.
okay. Okay.
so. Were you insured, like because this is another problem with people fighting cancer, like
Right.
the financial burden is there, and then we never expect this thing to happen, and it happens. Uh, so I know
So
this is a personal question again, but what advice would you like to give from your experience about finance? Like, uh,
well, so in my case, I was lucky that I am I'm I was insured in in a company insurance with my husband's insurance, so that's why my treatment got covered in that. But this immunotherapy actually right now is not being covered by this insurance, so that is, we are paying on our from our own pocket. And uh, advice, I really don't know, because since I didn't I'm completely unprepared for it. But I would suggest that if anybody has history of cancer in their families, then definitely take insurance for cancer, even if you have to pay a little more. Best to be prepared and take insurance for cancer. That's the only that's one option. The other is, of course, if anybody is setting up, and we can set up a fund which can help cancer patients with their treatment. I was actually, that's one of the things that I'm interested in doing eventually, to help create a fund or a resource for needle cancer patients, to help them financially.
Yeah, you can join our cancer survivors group. We have a group called Class, and
Right.
we are doing pretty good.
I would be interested. Yes, definitely.
Yeah, we are forming an NGO. We are in the process of forming an NGO, and definitely we would want more members like you actually want to help come forward, not just financially, but even volunteering something or
All right.
definitely do let us know. Yeah.
The other thing
Ma'am, I
I
would
would,
like to
yeah, sure, please go ahead.
I would like to highlight that chemotherapies are also covered in health insurance policies. Whether it is group insurance, whether you have taken an individual policy, chemotherapies are covered under daycare procedures.
No, no, I know chemo is covered, but mine currently is only immunotherapy that's going on. That is not covered. That is the till now it was being covered, because along with chemo drug, this drug was being given, so that was being covered. But now only the immunotherapy drug is on, so that apparently is not covered. They told us.
Okay, right.
तो मेरा भी ऐसे ही हो गया था like after my cancer I started losing my teeth and all because of the radiation but your dental so I had to replace all my teeth and then that was not covered because it's not cancer but it is because of cancer I'm trying to explain them तो वो नहीं वो अलग है ये this is different and that is different so I
Yeah.
have to pay for this and it's almost turning about the same cost now because it keeps on the maintenance thing is pretty
Right.
costly.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
that's a part of the play, part of the game.
Yeah. Yeah. It's I don't know why they don't why in India it's I don't know if it is the same case in the US, but in India once you are diagnosed they will not give you insurance.
Same, it's the same. My company is not insuring me now because I had cancer. So even if I'm 5 years plus, they still don't give a thought
Oh,
about
they're
it.
still not giving. I thought it was after 3 years or something they start
No, no.
they give
Once you fill
cancer.
up the form with the history of cancer, you're out of it. I had even posted a letter in the group that really doesn't help. So that's the bad part of being a
Oh
cancer
my God.
warrior. Yeah,
Okay.
Savita ji, would you like to ask something? You've been here the first time, so
Yeah, and it was very inspiring, and kudos to you, Kaushiki, the way you are, you know, fighting and inspiring others as well. I'm sure, when this will be put out in recordings and more people would be able to see it, they would be inspired. And it's really important to talk about your journey because not everybody come out and talk, and I think that's the one of the major problem because every cancer patient, I think they look for a hope, one hope, if they can see कि यहाँ से कि I, if this person has come out of this disease, probably I will also come out. And
Right.
आप जो कर रहे हो वो बहुत I mean, I'm really I have no words to say like how you're dealing with, and with a small child, of course, I can relate with that. That how much worries you're having. तो वो मेरा मेरा भी बस यही एक क्वेश्चन था वो जो जिसमें मुझे भी काफ़ी स्ट्रगल हुई थी कि when you think about your child, right? And I think for a mother who has a little child who's hardly 4, 6, 10 years old, तो उनको they are able to take the treatment, but हमेशा बच्चे की चिंता रहती है तो उसको आप उसको when that comes, how you handle that kind of emotions.
So I mean क्या मतलब मेरा जो होता था ये मैं वापस आती थी फिर कीबोर्ड से और बहुत थक जाती थी तो मैं सो जाती थी और मेरी बच्ची मेरे साथ आके तब खेलना चाहती थी तो मैं कर नहीं पाती तो बहुत ही मतलब लगता था कि क्या चल रहा है कैसे मतलब why am I going through this and why is she going through this but but then I kind of made myself understand that this is for future purpose like if I don't go through the treatment now I will not have the have the life to actually spend, see her grow up, see her reach her milestones, go to school, go to get married, or all the usual milestones that children reach. And that kind of, and just praying to God that I do come out of this, and I'm lucky, be one of the lucky ones, I suppose. And
Yeah.
that's it.
Fing- Fingers crossed.
I have
Are
to
people,
go through it. I don't know. I mean, I don't have any answer to your questions as such. Just that, just had to go through the whole journey. And
because children are very sensitive. I
yeah.
mean, they're very sensitive. We feel that कि उनको कुछ, we are keeping them away from all this, but they pick up everything
Oh,
very,
of course, of course,
yeah.
of course. And she keeps asking, like, why am I taking this medicine? What is this medicine for? And then, like, I don't have, like, once the hair went off. And the children also do get used to. I mean, for them, mama is mama. I mean, they don't really think about the bal nahi hai, yes I have, yes I have. They don't think that. So that's also a very heartening thing in a way, that they just take you for face value. What you are, you are. No, they don't question about
And
ऐसा क्यों
that's
ऐसा क्यों.
that also gives the strength, right?
Yeah,
And
that
you are
that
being
that gives
accepted. Yeah, you are being accepted by your child in a whatever way you are.
yeah,
वो भी एक strength रहता है
yeah.
हमारे लिए.
सविता जी, इसके लिए मैं भी एक बात बोलना चाहूँगी। मुझे जब कैंसर डायग्नोज हुआ था, तो मेरी प्रेगनेंसी का 6 मंथ चल रहा था। तो जैसे अभी 4 इयर्स के लिए तो हम बोलते थे कि यार मम्मा मम्मा है, जो भी आपको उसको समझाना है। मेरे साथ तो ये था कि डिलीवरी हुई है और
I think we lost.
I think वो
हाँ.
voice
Yeah,
was
Neha,
volume चला दिया.
आई वाज जस्ट थिंकिंग कि वो भी एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट एस्पेक्ट होता है बिकॉज मेरे ट्रीटमेंट के बाद में भी आई एम स्टिल स्ट्रगलिंग टू जो इमोशंस दबे हुए हैं बच्चे के बिकॉज ही डजंट वांट टू टॉक अबाउट दैट तो
How old is your child?
I mean, I was now he has just turned 10. He was 6 when I was diagnosed,
Oh, okay.
but he still doesn't. Sometimes उसको आंसू आ जाते हैं मतलब
yeah. I
हाँ.
remember मेरे किड के स्कूल में फायर फाइटर्स वगैरह आए थे, just to they come to school to show those uh, for the kids to come in the truck and all that. And he was talking to I was in treatment, so he was telling them that you all do a good job of putting off the fire. My dad smokes. Can you put off his cigarette? With like, so even in the back of his head, it is because of that smoking and all going on. So मतलब मुझे that guilt feel बहुत हुआ वो I just cannot stop thinking of it. Just doesn't go out of my head, like sometimes, like because of me I ruined his thought process. Like he should be thinking of different other things than the smoke of the cigarette. So yeah, these children are really very sensitive, and they try to hide their feelings a
Yeah.
lot of time. I've seen that. Yeah, yeah. I don't know why
Yeah,
Neha. We are losing on time again.
Kaushiki and Savita, I would like to say. Carry on, Meher.
No, you were saying something, Anuradha ji.
हाँ, कौशिकी और सविता, आई वांट टू से कि इन दिस वर्ल्ड ऑफ कंपटीशन ना सबको लगता है सबके पास दुनिया में सबसे बेहतरीन चीज हो, बट इन द केस ऑफ मदर इट इज नॉट सो. सब सोचते हैं सबसे बेस्ट माँ उनके पास ही है वर्ल्ड में. तो तुम दोनों बहुत अच्छी माँ हो, इसलिए चिंता ही मत करो, उन बच्चों की दुआओं से एकदम बढ़िया रहने वाली हो.
Thank you.
thank you.
Yeah, Neha just messaged that she lost network. Okay,
I thought so.
Yeah,
we'll,
she loves
we'll talk over it maybe in the next session. I think it's about to end, and well, thank you so much, Kaushiki, for your time and everyone who joined. And it's always good to chat with all these known people, and when you share your heart out, you feel better. And
Yes.
yeah,
Thank you so much for having me.
oh no, it's always a pleasure, and it's really encouraging. And I'm going to I've been recording this. I'll put it up in the group, and definitely there are people who watch it later on, and they'll get inspired, and hopefully if they have questions, they will reach out to you. And
Sure.
all right, अंजलि जी कुछ
Okay.
बोलना है आपको?
सलाम करती हूँ. बिग हार्ट लेडी, स्ट्रॉन्ग लेडी, और क्या वर्ड ही नहीं मेरे पास. ये सभी मम्मियों को जैसा सविता जी है, कौशिकी जी है और अपनी नेहा भी है, सबके बच्चे छोटे, हमारे तो बड़े हो गए थे, हम तो हमारे लिए जी रहे थे, इनके तो बच्चे छोटे छोटे हैं। आई नो हाउ दे बैड नो, बिकॉज मेरे भी एक रिलेटिव में था बच्चा, वो बच्चा मम्मी को गोली देता था निकाल निकाल के, तो उसकी मम्मी बोलती थी मेरा बेटा मुझे गोली देता है। ही वॉज ओनली 6 years old। मम्मा यू हैव टू टेक दिस टैबलेट, मम्मा यू हैव टू टेक, तो रोना आता था मुझे कि बच्चे भी सीख जाते हैं, दे बिकम
मेरी
मैच्योर।
बच्ची भी वो करती है, जब मैं दवाई लेती हूँ तो वो उसको होता है कि वो मुझे देगी, तो
या
बोलेगी
राइट,
आप मुझे दो, मैं दूंगी। तो उसको वो बहुत रहता है कि वो मम्मी को दवाई देगी।
दे बिकम इनफ मैच्योर, यू नो, बच्चा जल्दी बड़ा हो जाता है, सब कुछ सीख लेता है, यू नो।
एक
और
और
इंश्योरेंस की बात कर रहे थे हम, इंश्योरेंस की बात कर रहे हैं, अभी आया है नया पॉलिसी, कैंसर केयर आया है। दे सेज मुझे अभी ब्रेस्ट कैंसर हुआ था राइट साइड में, तो इफ यू गेट राइट साइड अगेन यू विल नॉट गेट द क्लेम। इफ यू आर गेटिंग लेफ्ट साइड, कोई और कैंसर होता है ना, तो यू विल गेट इट। 10 लाख का पॉलिसी है,
ओके
अभी नया लॉन्च हुआ है। सो
ओके
वेर एवर यू गॉट रिलैप्स होता है ना, वो नहीं मिलेगा। अदर पार्ट यू गेट कैंसर ना, दैट विल गेट इट।
ओके।
तो अभी
स्टार्ट
पता
कर
चला
दो।
मुझे।
बिफोर वी एंड द सेशन, सविता एंड कौशिकी, एक हम लोगों के साथ में है एक कोमल रामचंद्रन, शी राइट्स वेरी वेल, तो आई विल शेयर अ पोएम विथ यू। उसने अपनी बेटी के ऊपर ही पोएम लिखी है कि उसकी जब जर्नी थी तो हाउ हर डॉटर वाज बिहेविंग ना। आई विल शेयर विथ बोथ ऑफ यू। अमेजिंग अमेजिंग, दैट्स
इफ दिस
अमेजिंग।
कॉल इफ दिस कॉल एंड्स, आप कमेंट्स में पास लिख देना प्लीज, कमेंट्स में, अगर ये कॉल अभी खत्म हो जाएगा। नहीं नहीं, आप बोलिए, अगर ये खत्म हो गया तो, इन केस वी कट यू ऑफ लाइक।
It's going to end. I'll share the link in the group.
श्योर।
बिल्कुल।
चलो चलो।